Hey folks, this is Kelani. With patch 8.1 up on the public test realms, we can start to get a glimpse of what some of the new features are going to look like. Patch 8.1 will bring us a new round of raids with the Siege of Zuldazar and the Crucible of Storms, as well as some new ways to pick up Azerite armor with the Emissary changes. Other changes are also coming to the Azerite system itself, like an extra ring of traits and some new traits to boot. But one of the features that I'm most excited about is actually the Incursion event. From what little we were told during the patch 8.1 livestream, these incursions would be very similar to the Legion invasions we had in the previous expansion, where the Legion's forces would rain down on a specific zone and take over for a little while. Well, from what I've played of the incursions right now, they're definitely very reminiscent of the Legion's assaults on Azeroth. Let's head on over to the PTR and take a little sneak peek at this new feature coming in 8.1. Honestly, if you did any of the invasions back in Legion, you probably know what to expect at this point. That same formula has been copy-pasted over to Battle for Azeroth, except we're not getting invaded by anyone external. This time, we're just invading each other. Horde camps will appear in Alliance zones, and Alliance camps will appear in Horde zones. Everyone gets to have a good rumble and tumble, and then we all go home, with a few shiny rewards, I might add. We haven't been given a great deal to look at on the PTR right now, but the one incursion we've been able to test was in Tiragard Sound. Now, unlike the invasions in Legion, these incursions don't seem to take over the entire zone. The world quests related to the event are all very compact on the world map, and there's even a handful of typical world quests still available. So really we're just invading small sections of the zone, which to me is actually more interesting and exciting. That means it shouldn't be the same round of world quests for an incursion, even if it happens to pop up in the same zone, because the area of the incursion could change to another point of interest on the map, so we get to move around a little bit more, and hopefully the world quests for each incursion will differ at least a little bit to make sure we don't get bored too quickly. You can check your world map to see if an incursion is active in any of the zones, as well as check the time remaining on that specific event. Right now on the PTR, the incursions have a timer of 20 hours, but bear in mind that could just be for test purposes, and the actual timer when this hits live servers could change. The Legion invasions were active for 6 hours when they came up, and had about 12 hours in between the end of one invasion and the start of another. Those timers did get quite a lot of flack when they were first figured out, so maybe the dev team will steer clear of those timers, but at this point all we can really do is wait for it to hit live servers, or to maybe get a confirmation from the Blues themselves. Either way, pop on over to the zone with the active incursion and you'll see the familiar Complete 4 World Quests quest. All you have to do is clear 4 of the event world quests off of your map and you're good to go. Most of the world quests are kill 10 such and such a mob, kill off these named NPCs who probably should be more important than they are, or save a few allies who are in dire need of a bandage. What's really cool with these incursions is that even though one faction is invading the other's island, both factions can take part in the incursion. So while the Horde are attacking Tiragard Sound, the Alliance will be trying to defend certain areas and trying to push back the Horde's advances. The Horde, on the other hand, just get to try and help the invasion, kill off their reinforcements, slaughter their leaders, bombard their civilians and torch their towns from the top of a mountain. But the Horde aren't the bad guys, really. Honestly, some of the world quests are actually pretty fun, but I feel like the novelty will probably wear off after the 10th time of clearing them off our map. So when you manage to stomp through 4 world quests, what happens next actually depends on which side of this incursion you're on. If you were the attacking faction, in this case the Horde, you get to head home to Zandalar and turn in your quest at the Honor-Bound Emissary. The rewards for taking part in these incursions, along with all of the rewards from the world quests you decide to complete, obviously, might surprise you. You get a box of loot, which will contain either a weapon or a piece of Azerite armor. I'm kind of shocked that we've been given another source of Azerite armor, but which also has a chance to be a weapon. That's pretty cool. I guess the devs realized that not getting either a weapon or a piece of Azerite armor is pretty frustrating, when all we have to work with is RNG on top of RNG. Obviously, they couldn't give us a way to actually work towards a weapon or a specific piece of Azerite gear, that would be daft, but at least we have a pretty decent chance of getting something usable from these boxes of loot, which also scale with your item levels. So on my 335 Paladin, the box contained 355 item level loot. And then on my 369 mage, the box contained 370 item level loot, so the higher your item level, the higher rewards you'll obtain, and this seems to be very in line with the changes being made to emissary quests, which means these incursions should stay relevant for a lot longer than the invasions did in Legion, especially if they decide to continue the item level scaling with patches after 8.1. Either way, these will be a fantastic way to help catch up with gear on your ults, even if you don't need the gear on your main characters. So if your faction is attacking, your incursion adventures end there. You just go home and get your loot. But if you're the defending faction, which in this case is the Alliance, you'll have one extra step to complete before you can pick up your shiny loot. With the Horde invading your precious harbours, you need to give them a good kick up the rear to send them sprawling. Well, it just so happens that there's a Horde airship right above your heads, which didn't really have anything to do with the incursion, by the way. It was just only ever mentioned after you already completed some other menial tasks, but hey ho, here we go, take a griffin on up to the airship and try to poke a few holes wherever you can. There's a percentage bar to fill up, as well as a captain or commander to take down as well. It seems fairly quick, and I'm sure things will fly by when you have plenty of other players helping out, so it's not too much extra work before you can go ahead and turn in your quest for your free weapon or Azeroth armor. I think these incursions are going to be a fun addition to the game because personally I'll always enjoy having something else to do in Azeroth, especially if it helps me work towards my goals. I'm still rocking 2 340 pieces of Azeroth armor on my mage, which is pretty frustrating at this point, so if I don't get lucky between now and when these incursions go live, at least then I'll have a decent chance to replace my shoulders and chest. They should also provide a bit of extra gear for any ults you're working on, which will always be relevant as the expansion continues. Having a pretty good chance of getting a weapon every time these incursions come up could be a lifesaver for any of the dual wielders out there, and I think it's really cool that the event will go back and forth between the two factions, and each faction has a turn on the home turf and then also gets to play an away game. I also like that the event and scenario itself changes depending on whether you're attacking or defending. If you're defending, you have an extra little bit to do, which drives home the fact that you're actually trying to get rid of this nuisance, this problem, get out of here with your silly airships, Horde scum, and then while you're attacking you get the satisfaction of, yeah, we wrecked your stuff, time to go home and celebrate. I think it would have been great to have an extra part while attacking where you push down some key fortification or kill somebody semi-important, but I guess that doesn't really make a lot of sense when it's going to happen every other day. It's hard to make any action seem long-lasting or impactful when the content works on a pretty clear cycle and schedule. Perhaps the reason I'm most excited about incursions is the potential for leveling up ults quite a bit faster. The Legion invasions were an amazing leveling method. Sure, you had to wait quite a long while in between each invasion, but being able to play your character for 20 minutes a day and get a level was incredibly efficient. I'm wondering how these incursions will be for helping to level ults, because Ian actually mentioned it when he first talked about them in the patch 8.1 livestream. So obviously they know what the main use of the Legion invasions were for a good chunk of Legion, and want to give us the same option in battle for Azeroth, but will they allow it to be as efficient, or will they slash the experience rewards because they know this is exactly what we're looking for? I decided to go ahead and test things out on the PTR as they stand right now, and I was quite disappointed. Several world quests didn't reward any experience whatsoever, even the ones which have the experience chunk as their designated reward. The complete 4 world quests quest to finish the incursion is supposed to reward a good chunk of experience as well, but all I got was the base 20-something thousand for the quest itself. That tells me that the experience rewards just aren't implemented properly right now, and I think the experience rewarded from all of the world quests will end up being increased. When I did receive experience from completing a world quest, it was only about 4% of a level. If this goes live with those numbers, incursions won't at all be lucrative when it comes to leveling ults. So keep your fingers crossed that a lot changes on that front if you're wanting to level through incursions, but again, this is only the first incursion we've had access to on the PTR. Hopefully it's nowhere near finished and certain rewards will get tweaked before 8.1 hits live servers. I think we're still quite a bit away from seeing patch 8.1, so I wouldn't worry too much about the current state of the experience rewards. I think incursions will end up being a great way to level, just like the invasions back in Legion. My main problem with incursions as they currently stand is that it's still resorting to RNG for its reward system. The rewards box pulls from the same loot table as the Warfronts right now, so if those Azeroth pieces aren't to your liking, that's a bit of tough luck. The weapons might be nice, but you could just get a shoulder piece after shoulder piece after shoulder piece. I would have liked to see some form of currency tied to these events, Alliance or Horde emblems, dog tags, commander seals, anything tied to killing the opposite faction and taking a trophy from their corpse would work very well as a currency currency. Collect a few for each world quest, collect a handful more for completing the incursion alongside this RNG loot box, and slap down a vendor somewhere with some items we can actively work towards. That's really the one thing missing when comparing these to the Legion invasions. Where is the Nether Shard equivalent? Maybe it's just not implemented yet, hopefully we'll see something later on down the line, but I think Blizzard really does need to move away from so many RNG boxes that are coming out of every orifice at this point. So whether you're wanting another source of Azeroth armor, a higher chance at those pesky weapons, some power leveling old goodness, or just want to bash on the Alliance for a little bit, it looks like Incursions should provide you with quite a few reasons to want to play through them. They'll probably end up being mostly for the alts after we all start stomping through the Siege of Zuldazar, but if you're not raiding at all, they might prove to be quite useful for helping you gear up. What do you think of the incursions from what we've seen so far? Would you have liked to have seen any significant change from the Legion invasion system? Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.